Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Erin Elizabeth Lambert. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Today we have a full moon in Libra, so this is your 50 card tarot reading for now. A reminder that this is a timeless reading, so if you feel called to watch this reading even when it's not a full moon in Libra, there's probably a message in here for you somewhere. Reminder that full moons are about a time to release, a time to let go, a time to kind of evaluate a cycle in our life that isn't just looking at what's not working for us and then releasing something from that way. So you obviously know what is the most helpful action for you, but hopefully with this tarot reading, you get some insight or some guidance from source to help kind of move you along to what could be helpful for you to release. Okay, so I have 3 piles for you today. I've inserted an overhead shot. Go ahead, take a moment and pick whatever pile speaks to you through whatever way it does. And then when you're ready, I will see you at the reading you choose, and the timestamps are all below. Hi everyone, this is for everyone who picked group number 1. So you picked the Phoenix and also the red and orange crystals. Okay, so Phoenix, empower. Fire activations bring creative and spiritual freedom. So very beautiful. Just again, what we know about the Phoenix, of course, is rebirth. So with this full moon, maybe there's something that, or whenever you're watching this reading, something that you can kind of rebirth yourself from, something that you can release or let go of, something that isn't serving you, and just kind of, just think about ways you can empower yourself and, sometimes we go through things and then we think like, I have to stay stuck as a victim, but you don't. You can go through your process. You can honor what that is for you, but remember, you always have a choice to rise from the ashes like the phoenix, right? Okay, so like usual, I'm going to start with your tarot, and then I have some oracle cards for you at the end. Okay, so first we have Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Then we have the High Priestess, the World, Justice, 2 of Pentacles, 2 of Cups, and 7 of Pentacles. Okay, so again, just a reminder for full moon, this is about releasing, this is about cycles ending, this is about letting go of something that maybe isn't serving you anymore and you can kind of let go of. It's really interesting because we do have a full moon in Libra, and Justice is at the center of your reading. Justice is associated with Libra because of the scales here. Libra is always both sides of the coin balancing, so I think just in general, this might be about some balance for you. Also, you have 2 of Pentacles and 2 of Cups together, so sometimes when there's 2 in a row, that could just be a little emphasis for you, but okay, I'll get to that. Okay, so opening your reading, Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So I feel like next to the High Priestess, I feel like maybe something was recently offered to you that looked good, or maybe you rejected something, someone, a thought. This is about a new opportunity. This is about abundance. This is about a new idea, something coming forward. But in the reverse, so I think this is just confirmation. If that is something you did recently, trust it. The High Priestess is about our intuition and kind of like this really deep, otherworldly, spiritual knowing that we all have, but sometimes we don't tap into it. So I think on this full moon, if you're holding any judgment to yourself, or did I make the right decision? Was this the right thing? This to me just shows that you can trust your intuition, and you should always trust by how something feels, not how it looks. Even if it's the most perfect thing in the world for you on paper, if it feels off, don't do it, okay? Because a lot, especially if it's like a long-term commitment, a lot of times our intuition can speak to us in a way that our intelligent mind can't, because our intuition is like our guidance system. It's being connected to God, spirit, source, whatever you call it. And so if we're really focused on like, oh, I have to say yes because there won't be anything as good a match for me as this, or this is my only chance, or I'll miss the opportunity. So if you kind of like turned away from something because it didn't feel right, I think this is just saying, release any guilt you have around that, release any shame you have around that, release any judgment of the self. Like, trust your intuition, even if you don't have the thing. Like, sometimes we can be afraid to say no to something too because there isn't like the other option available to us right away yet. Okay, but from doing that, we move into the world and justice, again, justice being the center of your reading, But the world is like the world in your hand. You know, the world is opportunities. The world is, there's a lot of options for you. Things are going to come forward to you. So it's okay that you trusted your intuition. And so, you know, what I see with the world is just, again, the world's in your hand, plenty of opportunities. I think if you're going to do some journaling today, it could be important for you to just think about, what are my limiting beliefs around this specific thing I want? How, you know, what are some ways that I feel like it couldn't work out? What are some ways I'm judging myself? And just kind of working on releasing some of that, because of course, you know, there's infinite possibilities. The universe is always conspiring for our greatest good. The universe wants us to be happy. And so for you to take the world and, you know, just trust, like kind of release some of the judgments or some of the ways, like you can have everything. You can have abundance. You can have what you really want. And so just really, you know, taking some time to think about what do I want that maybe I like, oh, maybe I think I could have this much of it, but not that much. Or what, maybe I could have this, but not that, right? So just being honest and looking at maybe some ways that you're judging yourself or feeling like you can't have a particular thing. Because then when we move into justice, this is again about justice. Okay, justice card is about things coming back into balance. It's about you kind of, the law of divine compensation is always working for us. So God keeps perfect books. The spirit keeps perfect books. There's nothing that is unrecorded. It just might not be, for example, a very clear A to B way. And so this is saying when you trust your intuition, when you trust that you can have abundance, eventually this is a theme for you. So maybe letting go of some ways that, like, maybe you feel like things unfairly happen to you. Maybe you feel like you can't stand up for yourself. Maybe you feel like you were cheated in some way, shape, or form. Just getting clear about maybe some of those limiting beliefs and then releasing them. Because I think with justice, it's like if you feel like a victim, you're not going to be able to call in things that are for you, because you're going to be so busy being mad. Like, why didn't I get this? Why didn't I get that? So just bringing in some justice and awareness for yourself, and just kind of being like, okay, what did or did I not give to myself that maybe, you know, wasn't, like, how am I still feeling like life has been unfair to me? Because how many times have we thought that, and then we get something that's so much better, you know, than we thought? Because look at this. We have the Two of Pentacles, and again, Two of Cups, and Seven of Pentacles. So all of these together. I get so excited. I just want to talk about all of them. We'll do one at a time. First thing, let's look at this. Okay, this is 1 to 2. So maybe you turning down one thing that wasn't for you. Now you're going to have options. You're going to have choices. This card can be about indecision. So maybe, you know, you do need to make a decision. Maybe getting clear when you're writing, when you're thinking about the things you want to call into your life, getting clear on, like, okay, well, what are my non-negotiables? What are things I would say yes to? What are things I would say no to? And just kind of moving forward with that. And just, again, getting clear about the ways that, you know, what exactly do you want? If you are very specific, then it's going to be easy for you to be like, okay, that's not the thing for me. That is the thing for me. So we have our non-negotiables. You have things that are give or take. Like, it would be nice if it was like this, but I don't mind this or this. Not in a settling way, but just like you don't have a preference either way. So just getting clear about that, because if you have options, then what I see here, so if you are asking about a romantic partner, that is here. But this also is about meeting where you're at. So you meeting someone else where they're at, you meeting yourself where you're at. I feel like with the rest of the energy of this reading, it's about meeting yourself where you're at and being honest about, what do I want? Like, don't play small about it. What do you want? Which things can come in for you? Which things do feel like they're a match for you? Which things do you want? And just, again, some affirmation here, some confirmation, the ways that you need to, you're going to have options, and then meet yourself where you're at. And don't think like, let's say you want to like increase your income. You can't like be like, I want a job where I make $1 million if you only make $10,000 a year at your current job, right? That might be too far of a jump. So this is about, we don't want to say that you won't be a millionaire, okay? But we do want to say you need to meet yourself where you're at and look at maybe the limiting beliefs. And like when you call in justice for yourself, look at maybe the limiting beliefs you have and how can I work through those a little bit to be able to move into the thing I want. I have a lot of sun today. The sun's setting, so it's cloudy, so it's coming in now. But, you know, just how can you meet yourself where you are, and how can you show up in a more loving and understanding way for yourself to kind of bring you the things you want, instead of, you know, being like, oh, this is so far out of my reach, I won't have it. And then what we even see from that, I see progression with these 3 pentacles here, right? We had 1 pentacle, 2 pentacles, 7 pentacles. So I think this is just going to be, you're going to be opening up your energy to more and more and more opportunities. You're going to see how many things, how many choices you actually do have for yourself. And it's really interesting because, we opened this with the Empower card. And so just all the ways that, like, oh my God, I actually do have way more choices than I thought. I actually do have way more options than I thought. And so if you're looking at this and thinking like, okay, what can I do for myself? And then also just being thoughtful about it, right? So this, to me, this is more like of the practical mind, whereas your high priestess is, we definitely need our intuition when we make decisions. But again, sometimes we do need to take a moment and be thoughtful. So I think with this full moon, just kind of releasing some rush that you feel like you need to be doing for yourself, releasing like any judgment of like, oh, I didn't decide yet, or this isn't the right thing for me, or, any of that stuff. You just want to take a moment, be reflective, be thoughtful. And I think with this full moon in Libra, you can release maybe some ways that you feel like you're rushing yourself, or you should be in a different spot than you are in, or you should have the answer by now, anything like that. Looking at releasing and just seeing like, okay, I can wait to choose till I have like the exact right thing for me. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 7 things or 700 things to choose from. It's just like, you will know when you know. And so don't, give yourself time to kind of look at them all and consider. Okay, now we're going to go with the oracle cards. Okay, so we have, look at this. I open my mind and say yes to life. How amazing. So is this what we were talking about? I think just we were talking about meeting yourself where you're at with like, I open my mind and say yes to life, right? So there's so many opportunities for us all the time, even if you don't feel like it right now, even if there isn't one showing up right now, right? Just opening yourself up energetically and being open to creative possibilities is actually going to be something that really serves you. So I open my mind and say yes to life. So again, when we're looking at a full moon, we want to look at releasing things. And so maybe thinking about, what do I need to release? Like, how have I not been saying yes? And like kind of looking at that. So, maybe I need to release the story that like, I can only have this job I want if it's in this particular thing, or I can only have abundance if it comes from this source of income. So just, thinking what are some ways that maybe, sometimes we don't even know we're doing this, right? It's just habit. But looking at what are some ways that you can really, I open my mind and say yes to life. What are some ways you might have been saying no, even subconsciously with that? Just staying open-minded in that way. Because look, then we have trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So a lot of times, again, when we say no to something, we trust our intuition, which is good. But sometimes, again, we are afraid to say no to something because we don't feel like we're being taken care of. But the truth is, we are taken care of. God, spirit, source is always looking out for us. Things are always for our highest good. So if you really believe that, if you really trusted your path, what could you let go of? That might be something else to let go of on this full moon. What can I let go of? How can I, again, with this justice energy, what can I release so I call in more peace and balance in my life in a way that maybe I felt like I wasn't before? So if you knew you were be supported, if you knew it was going to work out, if you knew you were going to get the job, the money, the partner, the whatever you want, the house, right? The living situation. If you knew it was going to work out, what could you let go of? How could you start acting? And just start acting like that. And then going along that same vein, we have Kahosh, which is repel. So this plant card. So repel. So again, I think what the theme I'm seeing here is just getting very specific about what you want and then believing that you can have it. So repel means, obviously, the situation of saying no to things, but also repelling any limiting beliefs about why you can't have it, and repelling anything that maybe you've been carrying that isn't serving you, or that won't actually help you, or that, you just thought like, okay, I guess, I need to have this limiting belief or this thought or whatever. Like, you can repel that. You can remove that. It doesn't have to be part of your reality anymore. Even if you've been thinking that thought, or told you have to have that thought, or told that has to be who you are for your whole life. Okay, so just kind of like repelling. Sometimes, when we think about bringing things into our life, we think about calling things in, but knowing what to say no to and knowing how to repel things and push things away not push things away, but say no to things that aren't for us is just as important as knowing which things we want to say yes to. Because if it, again, if we're not super clear on all our non-negotiables and things we want, the greatest thing in the world could come in. But if we're like, oh, I don't know, then you have to know what to say no to know what you want to say yes to. Okay, and then last, this is from the Birdkin Messages deck. I love it. We have Sora, the bird Sora. So Sora has to do with like your creative power, like for unseen circumstances. So like just the power of the mind, the power of what you want to envision and what you want to have. So this is really saying to me just what we were talking about, and even what we were talking about with this, open my mind and say yes to life. I think this is just another affirmation of it's up to you to get clear about the things you want, and then get clear about like, okay, how can I imagine this in a way that maybe I wasn't before? Where was I limiting myself? What can I let go of that actually might serve me, but maybe I thought it wouldn't because of whatever. So this is about creative possibilities. This is about opening your mind up to, maybe where you've been playing small, maybe where you've been keeping drama in your life, whatever, any and all of that. So releasing some of that energy. Okay, that's everything I have for you. I hope this serves you. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Happy full moon. If you release something, or it's not a full moon, thank you for being here anyway. And I hope to see you again soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome to group 2. This is for everyone who picked the yellow and green crystals and the monkey card. So inner child, don't take life too seriously. Very nice. So just a reminder, this is a full moon reading, and full moons are about releasing things, about letting things go. So even if you didn't find this on the full moon, just thinking about, what are some things you can let go of, cycles you can let go of, things that maybe aren't serving you. And so just starting off with the monkey, inner child, don't take life too seriously. I think this one's really good. Sometimes if we're really focused on like, I got to achieve this and I want to have this and da-da, like we can get so caught up in that we don't remember to just laugh and enjoy life, just like, relax and chill out. So a nice message from the beginning of just let your inner child play. Sometimes we're really focused on healing our inner child that we don't let our inner child just come out and have fun a little bit. So if you haven't, a nice little reminder here from our monkey friend to do that. Okay, so like usual, I'm going to start with your tarot, and then I'll have some oracle cards for you at the end. Okay, so we have Judgment, Ace of Swords, Six of Pentacles, Nine of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, Devil in Reverse, and Strength. Okay, so I think, again, full moon about releasing, but again, if you're here anytime, releasing in general. What the theme of your reading, the center of your reading, is we do have the Nine of Wands. So I think this is about, matching that monkey energy. I don't cherry pick my cards, so this is just some synchronicities that come out. But I think, I'll get to your full reading. But here, just the theme, what I'm seeing from the center right now is just like, take the blindfold off. Look at, you think you might be on the defense from all these other wands, but you don't have to be, right? You can just be enjoying your life and enjoying the moment. So lightening up, I think, is a good theme for this group. So if you need some things to release or want to think about things you can let go of, this is a good full moon to be doing that. So opening your reading, we have Judgment into Ace of Swords. So when I see these two cards together, what I'm feeling here is like you're just getting clear on some boundaries you need to set. Like it's kind of like Judgment. This is like the Day of Judgment represented here. So if you're familiar with Abrahamic traditions, just this idea that when the world ends, when things come to a close, when a cycle ends, like we're going to have to get clear. We're going to have to, be accountable for things we've done. So what I'm seeing with this full moon energy and with Judgment and Ace of Swords is, what can you let go of? What can you release? What can you kind of like get more clear about? How am I living a little bit out of a way that doesn't feel what's best for me? Not like you're doing anything super horrible or, out of control, but just thinking about what are the ways that maybe I feel like I could clean up my energy a little bit more. I could set 1 or 2 more boundaries. I could just be a little more accountable for myself and just kind of, balance out my energy in a way that maybe I wasn't doing before. So what are some ways that I can show up for myself? I can, yeah, just be accountable. Not in a way that's like, when we say accountability, we don't want to like beat ourselves up. Like it's very, being accountable just means like, this is what it is. And how do I want to be better? What can I do to be better? And so when we look at that from this card standpoint, you want to think about, again, just kind of looking with judgment, looking with how have I been showing up? What do I want to release? What doesn't serve me anymore? It could even be something like a limiting belief, like this limiting belief doesn't serve me anymore. But it also could be, okay, I want to be a little more clear about, the way I speak to strangers, or how I hold my energy when I'm in public, or, whatever's coming up for you. But just trusting, maybe this is a time where you can evaluate some of that. And then, because when we have Six of Pentacles here, oh, this is so interesting. In group 1 too, they had a card that had the scales on it, but because we're in Libra, we got the scales here. Libra is about balance. It's a zodiac sign about balance, so it's just a nice little synchronicity for this reading. But so this is about restoring balance in your life. So I think from doing these two things, like just taking inventory, not judging yourself, but just kind of getting clear, like, I let like this in this slide. Maybe I don't want to do that anymore. Setting some boundaries, and then that's going to restore some balance in your life. And then as soon as we heal and work on our relationship with ourselves, that spreads outward into all areas of our life, right? It's like if you ever have a day where you're in like a bad mood or things feel really off for you, and then you try and go out in public and then like everything pisses you off extra because you're already pissed off, versus like a day where like, you're really in tune with yourself, you wake up on the right side of the bed, any of that energetically, you're just really solid. And then the day kind of just flows a little bit more easier. So when we are more clear about our boundaries, when we do kind of fine tune them to be like, okay, this actually is what is working for me and what isn't, then we can restore balance in our life. And so, it's like, if I'm not, if I set a boundary where I'm not going to listen to someone in my family just like emotionally dump onto me, and it's not a reciprocal relationship. It doesn't have to be someone in your family, it could be anyone, right? But if it's not a reciprocal relationship and you decide, okay, that's a boundary I'm going to set and not allow anymore, then you're going to restore some balance, right? You're not going to have to like do a shit ton of self-care to recover that. You're not going to have to like, respond to all that. It's like, it's preventative boundary work is kind of the place we're always fine tuning in life, because our circumstances change, we grow, we go through different things. There's different circumstances. So it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you if you do have to reset your boundaries or relook at them. It could just be, again, with this full moon, about releasing, looking at which things do I need to release based on where I'm at in my life right now that maybe I didn't have to before. So this is about restoring balance. And then once you do that, I think some problems are just going to go away. Like it's really, obviously with other people, we do need to set boundaries. We do need to have limits, but so many times when we clean up our own energy, when we clean up our own side of the street, a lot of things that we thought were really bothering us or feeling really out of control or really bad just aren't as big of a deal anymore. So I think with this full moon, you can kind of think about like, what do I need to release? What do I need to let go of? And then how is that going to free up my energy within myself? Take the blindfold off, see maybe some of these things that were so scary or were so hard maybe aren't as much anymore because you did set a boundary, you did kind of rebalance out your energy. And this also, another message I'm getting about it is, part of these could be you set a boundary and then suddenly you feel like more clean about it, or it's easier for you to navigate it when you have this boundary and you have these things. And just, again, getting clear about the ways that you can show up more kindly and lovingly for yourself, because boundaries protect everyone, not just you. They show limits to other relationships. There's less resentment there. Things are less frustrating. But you just have this, things are just, they're less intense. They're less dramatic. They're less whatever when you set these boundaries, and the threats in your mind like can kind of like go away when you know that you're not completely, of course, but you can, you can set some limits, and then you're able to find more balance in your life than maybe you were before. And then from there, we do have the Knight of Pentacles. So I think once you clear up and kind of protect your own energy a little bit more and get clear about your own boundaries, that's when you can kind of move forward with. Pentacles is always about abundance. It's always about physical reality, things coming into things. It can start as like abundance always starts in the mind. Abundance is always energy before it's anything else. But we want to look at the ways that Knight of Pentacles, right? So maybe once you set these boundaries, it might be a little muddy, might be a little hard, might be a little annoying, but once you get to the other side, which is always worth it, you're going to have this Knight of Pentacles energy where you are moving forward, where you are realizing, you know what, I can move forward with things. I can set limits. I can, when you're not busy, like having to balance out yourself or your life, or, maybe your boundary was you were taking care of someone, you were being codependent, you were taking care of someone in a way that they need to be taking care of themselves. So maybe you were doing that, and then that can free up your energy to like focus on yourself and be like, okay, wow, how can I move forward with things like that? And it's a cloudy day today, so the sun's coming in and out, so we're getting some different lighting here, but it's just what we're working with today. But so the Knight of Pentacles, again, just looking at ways that you might be able to then move forward with your own abundance for yourself, because you set limits and you kind of release things with that. So again, if we're thinking about the full moon, we're thinking about releasing, especially with this Libra energy of balance. Again, just thinking about the ways that you can find balance in your life when you're done trying to take care of things you can't control. Anything you can't control is going to drive you crazy, because you think, oh, well, if they just did this, this, and this, and everything will be fine. Well, if they don't want to do that, they're not going to do that, and then you're going to go crazy. So this is about just getting clear and like putting your energy back on yourself and getting clear about ways that you can move forward within yourself because of all this other stuff. And then what I will say, all of these three together, the Knight of Pentacles, the Devil, and Strength, Devil in reverse. I think this is Devil upright is about temptation. It's about addiction. It's about choosing things that aren't good for you. So I think Devil in reverse, as long as you keep these boundaries and as long as you check in with yourself and kind of am like, okay, where do I not need to have these boundaries? Where are things that I can continue to honor the ways I've set these boundaries? It's going to be, you're going to rely on your inner strength and not be tempted by those anymore. As long as you're connected to your inner self, as long as you're connected to, the infinity sign on the strength, the strength card, and strength card is also an 8. So like, again, another infinity. As long as you're connected to that infinite source energy that we can tap into whenever we want, it's so much easier to say no to tempting addictive things or patterns, or, maybe ways you used to take care of people that you don't want to take care of them anymore, or maybe codependency on something outside of you. But when you do set those boundaries, it is so much easier to say no. And when you do rely on your inner strength and you do know, like, okay, I know this boundary is good for me and it's something that works for me. As long as I do that, then I can move forward and just trust in your own inner strength to come forward. So I think with this full moon, or just whenever you're watching this is a timeless reading, just thinking about what are the ways that you can show up for yourself and have a few more boundaries than maybe you didn't, or some ways that you can rely on your own strength and kind of clean up, let go of like whose energy are you holding in that you don't need to be holding in anymore? Whose energy are you like making yours, and whose energy are you just taking responsibility for that's not yours to take responsibility for? Okay. And again, with this monkey, I just love it, lighten up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to get to your oracle cards. Okay, very interesting. Okay, we'll start with this one. So the initiation, it says rite of passage, crossing the threshold. So this is really beautiful. I feel like it's just a reminder that a lot of times when we go into the next layer of our lives, when we're expected to be someone or move into like the next level of our life, we do need to reevaluate our boundaries. So maybe you're coming to another situation in life. Maybe there's some awareness. Maybe you're becoming the next layer of you that you need to become. And so a lot of times when we have to do that, there is this initiation process of like, okay, you want the next layer? Well, what boundaries are you going to set? Who is going to show up for you in that way? Who are you going to be in that situation? And so trusting that there is part of the bigger plan for you. It is part of your initiation. It is part of something that is going to serve you, even if in this moment you can't possibly see how, or maybe it's annoying. You don't want to set these boundaries. You don't want to break the codependency. You don't want to let go of, this thing, but trusting, again, this is an initiation. It is serving you. It is important for you to do that. And then I think sometimes with that, when we set a boundary, we can kind of cling to it, or we can be afraid to really set the boundary, to really let something go. So we do have chamomile, we do have soothe, So if you drink chamomile tea, it might be nice to make yourself a cup and just relax a little bit. That might be something that's coming up for you, but also even just soothing yourself energetically, just being like, I trust myself, I love myself. Um, Even this card that came up. So I love and accept myself. So just knowing that the boundaries you want to set, the place you want to go, the initiation you're going to, that is on purpose. And sometimes we can be scared, but it is important to trust our growth. It is important to trust the next place that we feel like we're moving towards. And so if you can say, I love and accept myself, I trust myself, I trust my growth, I trust that this is the boundary I need to set, it's okay for me to have limits, just any kind of those affirmations, just really soothing yourself through the boundary process. Because a lot of times, especially if it's a boundary we never set before, or it's with someone we never set a boundary before, or, we can be fearful of it. Sometimes we can block ourselves because we're afraid, to let go or to have a new pattern or something like this. So I think this soothe goes really well with I love and accept myself, right? So just thinking about, what boundaries do you need to have to just get very clear about, or what self-talk do you need to have for when you're setting these boundaries, so you can get clear about loving and accepting yourself and showing up for yourself in that way. And then last we have from the Birdkin Messages deck, which I love, is Peacock. So it's an 18, breaks down to a 9, but also this 8, again, 8 is on there with that strength, with the infinity sign again. So I love this. Peacock is about mystical experiences. It's about letting, not trying to control everything, trusting that mystical things can happen for us. We can have a situation that, seems like magical or supernatural, or this can happen in your day-to-day life. So I think just as a little affirmation for this reading for you, trusting that setting your boundaries doesn't mean you're going to miss out on something. It doesn't mean you're going to lose something. It doesn't mean you're going to block something that's for you. But instead, trusting that when you do set these boundaries, this peacock energy really, it's for your best. You will be supported by spirit. You will be supported by all these things outside of you to move you forward. And, just really knowing that all these mystical things that happen when you are in alignment with yourself. And part of that alignment is knowing what to say no to, and knowing what boundaries to have, and knowing the ways that you need to say no or have a limit or whatever else is going on. So just really reminding yourself, mystical things can happen as long as we do our part, and our intuition is always part of the plan, and it's always part of the things we can't see. It's just our role in being part of the collective conscious. So we do need to trust ourselves. We do need to trust the boundaries we're called to set, the things we want to move towards. So I think this is just, a nice little reminder that when you do set limits, when you do have boundaries, maybe you're going to get some internal pushback from yourself, but you are supported by spirit in that way when you do this. Okay, that's everything I have for you. I hope this served you. I wish you a very letting go full moon, or whenever you watch this. If you ever want any more information about me, all that is linked below. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Hi everyone, this is for everyone who picked group number 3. So you picked the blue and purple crystals, and you picked the butterfly card, which is so beautiful. So it says, emerging, take the leap of faith. So I think this is really beautiful. I think, especially for a full moon, just minor full moons are about releasing. If you're not watching this on the full moon, still think about releasing something. But with this beautiful card, I just love all those cute butterflies. There is a chrysalis process to become a butterfly. So there is an emerging, there is kind of letting go of the old self as you move forward and you emerge into this new self. So love that. Very beautiful message for everyone who picked group 3 to start with. And take the leap of faith just means, you got to trust when you turn into goo, and then you're going to become a butterfly on the other side eventually, right? Okay, so I'm going to start with your tarot, and then we'll get to your oracle cards at the end. Okay, so opening your reading, we have Queen of Cups, beautiful, 7 of Cups, 9 of Pentacles, King of Wands, Judgment, Knight of Cups, and then 10 of Wands in reverse. Okay, so the center of your reading, we have the King of Wands, which is the theme of your reading. What I am gathering from this, King of Wands is like about a lot of passion. It's a lot about clarity, regardless of your gender. It's just about owning this energy of like, this is who I am. This is how I'm moving forward. This is what I believe in. This is what I'm passionate about. It's just like, here I am, and what, right? That's King of Wands energy. So I feel like going along with this emerging card, the butterfly card we were just talking about, I feel like this full moon is going to be a chance for you to reflect and release on some of the ways that maybe you're holding on to something that isn't you. Maybe some ways you're like dimming down your light or not feeling like as powerful or passionate as you can be, or I don't know, anything like this. Just some ways that maybe you feel like, um, what do you need to let go of to embody this like really passionate, amazing King of Wands energy? Okay, so to open your reading, I mean, wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Queen of Cups, Seven of Cups, Nine of Pentacles. So I think what we're seeing here, Queen of Cups is, again, regardless of gender, is queen energy. It's really tapped into um, just being really intuitive, really flowy, really like know your emotions, know how to handle them, know how to use your intuition to move you to that next layer, that next place in your life. You can see even she's just surrounded by water and it's moving. So just trusting like a lot of the flow of your life, trusting a lot of the ways that, you feel like you can rely on yourself. You can use your queen energy. Just think of maybe make a list of ways you've listened to your intuition in the past and it's worked out for you. Sometimes we get scared to trust our intuition, but we but it's worked out for us in the past, right? There's probably more examples of times you haven't trusted your intuition and it didn't work than times you have listened to your intuition and it did work, maybe in a way that you weren't sure of. So I feel like these three cards leading up to the King of Wands, again, regardless of what gender you identify with, Queen of Wands here is like, kind of like the baby process, and then it's like evolving into the King of Wands. So along the way, you listen to your intuition, and I think there's two messages for this one I'm getting. The first one is, when you listen to your intuition, you see you have way more choices than you thought you did. You see you have way more options than you thought you did. Um, and then the other message I'm getting for some of you, maybe you resonate with both, but pick which one that sticks with you, is no matter what you choose, you can't choose wrong, right? A lot of times they go, what if I make the wrong choice? What if this isn't the right thing? But the thing is, you can never choose wrong because what's for you can't miss you. So even if you make a choice that you think like, oh, God's going to respond to me this way or that way, depending on what I choose. But that's not true. The things that are for you can't miss you. And then the choices you make, you just get life experience from, right? You just get clarity. You just get awareness. You just get, things that are coming for you. Because I feel like the more you connect to your intuition and you more open yourself up to creative possibilities, you are going to see you do have way more options available to you than maybe you previously thought. And then all of those going into this beautiful Nine of Pentacles, to me, it just really feels like, again, no matter what you choose, you're going to get abundance, right? You get this person is just strolling in their garden with all their pentacles, all their abundance. So when you listen to your intuition, it's going to work out one way or another. Even if it doesn't work out, it's still going to work out, right? Even if it doesn't work out in the ego attachment way, it's still going to work out for you in some way, shape, or form. So this is about just getting clear about the ways that, maybe on this full moon, you can think about the ways, what do I need to release that maybe is my limiting belief that I'm going to choose wrong? Or, what are some ways I can strengthen my intuition within myself? So just getting clear and thinking about the ways that maybe you, what beliefs do I, like, what was I taught from my religion, from my culture, from society, from my family, from wherever, that like, I'm going to choose wrong, or I can choose wrong, or I can miss the thing that's for me, because, we can't, we just can't, that's it. And so just trusting that like, okay, whatever I choose, as long as I'm listening to my intuition and fine tuning my intuition with this Queen of Cups, it is going to serve me. It is going to, be the best for me. And I think, with this full moon process, again, the progression I see in the cards here is like the Queen of Cups, and then trusting your intuition and then recalling times that it did work out for you is going to move you into some of this King of Wands energy. Again, regardless of what gender you identify with, we know in the tarot, the king comes after the queen. So this is a progression. So this is just to me saying the more you practice this, the more you kind of release some of these limiting beliefs about what you can or cannot have based on those things, this is going to get you closer to, this King of Wands energy, this energy of just total passion, total embodiment, totally like, yes, I am the king. Not debatable, right? This is not up for debate here based on that. And then I think what's going to come from that, we move into Judgment, Knight of Cups, and 10 of Wands in reverse. I think, with Judgment, you're going to have to make some decisions. So I think, this is really interesting too, because you're going to make some decisions. You're going to decide when you open yourself up to all the options you have, and then you're like, okay, I'm cool either way, no matter what I get or don't get or whatever happens. And when you own that, then that sounds nice, but you still have to make some decisions in your life, right? You still have to show up for yourself, and you still have to realize, okay, what do I want? What don't I want? Judgment is about being accountable and taking inventory of who we are and what we've done and how we can show up for ourselves in a way that is like actually helpful and fulfilling. And so when we think about Judgment, we need to think about, what am I actually going to decide? What am I going to choose to be my process, my choices, all of this linked together, right? So just getting clear about what is my own judgment energy, how have I been showing up, what do I need to take inventory for and decide in my life? And then I think it's about, I'm feeling energy of you have to make a decision with this full moon. You don't have to, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to listen to me. Don't give your power away to me. But the message I'm getting from this is, you listen to your intuition, you have all these options, you have these choices, but now it's going to be about letting go of like the illusions of why do I need to hold on to all of these options, right? Why do I need to make sure if I don't have A, then I have B, then if I don't have B, I have C, if I don't have C, I have D, right? So you need to let go of some of this and kind of be accountable and be like, okay, what am I going to commit to? What am I choosing in my life? What is this next thing that's coming for me? Because we go from here, look, Knight of Cups, he's only got one cup, right? There's only one cup in this one. So this is about understanding and acknowledging the choices you've made and kind of sticking to something. And I think, when we look at this next to 10 of Wands in reverse, it's going to alleviate a lot of stress for you if you've been feeling stressed about making a decision. Like I said, you can't miss anything that's for you. You can't choose wrong. You can't, choose and then you're going to get punished, right? The ego loves to tell that story, loves to tell that story, but that's not the truth. So I think when you focus and move forward, this isn't like, again, a night that's sprinting around and up in the air like some of the other nights, but this is a night that is moving forward with the one thing they're focusing on. So I think another message I'm getting to is you have a lot of options, just first things first, one thing at a time, do one thing at a time, and you're going to lighten your load with that. So maybe thinking about, are you trying to fix everything in your life at once or trying to change everything in your life at once? How can you kind of focus on one thing at a time here? So maybe I think with this full moon, another Libra is about balance, it's about scales of justice. It's about finding, both sides of the coin here. So what are some ways that maybe you can kind of release trying to feeling like you need to do everything at once, you need to decide everything at once, you need to have everything at once all the time, everywhere, and instead just look at, one thing at a time, moving forward one thing at a time, one choice at a time, and it's really going to lighten, upright, obviously, this person's very stressed out, carrying too much stuff, like breaking their back. Work smarter, not harder. Just what are some ways you can release some things that maybe aren't serving you, that maybe you feel like you have to be doing or is part of your life or, however this is resonating. Just don't make yourself crazy with a lot of stuff if you don't have to. And usually we don't have to. We just like to do that because that's part of being a human. Okay, next I'm going to look at your oracle cards. So we have... Okay, very nice. We'll start with this one. So Unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So I think... this is kind of what I was talking about here. Like as you connect to your intuition and maybe as you're looking at options or holding a lot of things, sometimes some things come into our lives and they feel really resonant for us and really loud for us. And we think, okay, I have to be committed to this for a long time, but sometimes we can learn our lesson pretty quickly, or we can not continue a cycle that maybe we've learned over and over again. And I think this is really beautiful because there is a full moon image on it, and we do have a full moon today. But yeah, we're looking at unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. So this is just things that maybe, you just decide you don't want to learn your lesson like that anymore. You don't want to show up in a way that's like not super healthy or the best anymore. Or, just this, sometimes we have a fear of, like I said, choosing. I feel like a theme for this group is choosing wrong or choosing the wrong thing. And sometimes, you need to know yourself and your own wounding so you can think, what is that fear about? What am I actually afraid of? What do I think is actually going to happen? And then once you know that, like, okay, I actually am safe, like this thing, it might seem like it's my fear, but it's actually not real. And again, just releasing that, releasing that, releasing that. I think it's just reflected in this energy here. Just pick one thing. Just let it go. You don't need to hold on to everything. And when we cling to stuff, actually, is when we block ourselves a lot, because it's not, it's fear when we move from a place of fear like this. So what can you let go? Maybe what's a lesson you learned in this lifetime that you're like, all right, I get it. I'm tired of learning this lesson. Maybe that's something you can focus on releasing for this new moon today too. And then, okay, which one do you want to start with? I like all of them. Okay, we'll start with this one. So, and then when you do that, you can say, I'm willing to let love in. So this is a really nice affirmation. I'm willing to let love in. It's safe to let love in. I am allowed to let love in. Any way that resonates for you. But I think, when we are in a place of feeling like we're taken care of and we can't choose wrong and we do feel powerful, that's when it's easier for us to make some of these decisions, to choose one thing, to trust that, abundance is our birthright. And so if I am willing to let love in, it's a little bit easier for me to put down all these things, because I'm not fear-based, right? There's schools of thought that say all emotions are either coming from a place of fear or a place of love. And so when we're in a lot of these fear emotions, sometimes that's when we want to cling to stuff. That's when we might not feel abundant. That's when we feel fearful. That's when we feel like, we can't make the best clear decision. So you say, I'm willing to let love in. And then I love this one. So we have a plantain from this card, Nourish. So I think, what's when you do that, you really nourish your soul. You nourish your power. You nourish, some of this King of Wands energy of just like, I am passionate, I'm clear, I know what's going on. When you nourish your soul around that, again, it's easier for you to make decisions, to feel powerful, to do that. So just focusing, what are the ways you can nourish yourself with that? What are the ways, especially as you are, when we go back to the beginning of the reading, you do have this emerging energy. If you are doing that, what are some ways you can kind of nourish yourself and feel more peaceful inside, because that's going to radiate outwards. Whatever you focus on inward is always going to radiate outwards. And then lastly, from the Birdkin Messages deck, which I love, we have the Grackle, which is a 9. So maybe 9 is a number that resonates for you. This is about igniting energy. This is very similar to the emerging energy here. So just again, igniting this energy, igniting things inside of us, and trusting that when we access that energy in ourselves, then that's when it moves outward and moves forward, instead of just feeling like, I need to get this or this thing, or I need to have this many options, or I need to have this many choices. This is if I connect to this energy within myself and I feel clear and strong within myself, that's going to radiate outwards. And I can trust that because I know that that's the truth. So just, again, really focusing here on letting love in, letting abundance in. And letting love in doesn't mean you don't have boundaries. It doesn't mean you're anything goes, no problem, right? Respect is part of love. Saying no is part of love. Having boundaries is part of love. So when you ignite those feelings within yourself, that's when it's going to be easiest for you to kind of really embody this King of Wands energy. That is the theme of your reading. Okay, that's everything I have for you. Thank you so much for spending your beautiful time with me. I hope this served you. If you ever want any more information about me, all of that is linked below. Thank you so much, and happy full moon. I hope you have a wonderful day.